is. So Carl Wendlinger's in charge of this. We're on board in the Maserati behind that Ferrari. Who would have expected that here? Christophe Bouchou is the car immediately in front of us, and ahead of that it is that front row lockout from Jet Alliance. We've got a green light. We are going racing in Oschersleben, and the two Jet Alliance cars side by side. Bouchou looking for an opportunity to make his move. Bartel's getting anxious. He's looking for an opportunity to get through as well. Into turn one, everybody looks very well behaved. The Ferrari locks up the brakes. There's a lot of smoke at the back, and I think most people have just shuffled their way through there. And Bouchou up on the inside is making his move. He's gained a place already.
People jumping over the curb, but everybody managing to keep four wheels in a straight line and get round the first corner. No carnage in the GT1 and 2 classes, thankfully. We've seen a lot of problems in earlier racing this weekend, but it's now still Michael Bartel's trying to find his way past. Bouchou's got up into second, as you said, Richard. Carl Wendlinger, it is, though, who's been shuffled down to third. So it's Alex Muller who actually leads the race in the 36, supposedly second string car in the Jet Alliance team.
Hasn't Alex Muller been driving very well just lately, though? And now they've got 3 young drivers in that team who really are capable of doing great things. Bouchou, as we said, really has got it across him. He's very annoyed about what happened during qualifying, and he thinks that he was dissed by the organisation and then by some of the other drivers on the circuit. We'll say no more about that, but there's a man there with a point to prove, and he is Christophe Bouchou. No compromise.
And looking into the Jet Alliance garage, happy faces so far as they lead the race, but third position wasn't where Carl Wendlinger expected to be. He wanted to be ahead of Alex Muller, not behind him, least of all behind Christophe Bouchou, who has split the Astons.
Michael Bartel's here has got in front of Jose Maria Lopez. We saw the Ferrari having a brake lock-up moment into turn one, and Michael Bartel's has. What usually happens is they go a little bit slower than the person who's leading this. Jimmy Bruni is the top man in GT2, and last time around his margin was 4.4 seconds. There's our leading Porsche.
And he's the guy who's profiting from Tim Mullen and Montanari having such close attention to each other. On board with Richard Westbrook, who shares with Emmanuel Collard, and Westbrook is who started the race this weekend, and his gap up to Tim Mullen has been shrinking gradually. It's down to just over 3.5 seconds as we speak, and his lap time's about half a second a lap quicker, while Tim Mullen determinedly tries to find a way past Montanari.
Still trying to find a way past. As you can see, they both lapped the Mosler. I think that was, I just saw in the background, and they've come out together. Tony Villander's the man on the right-hand side there, watching that as impassively as only a Scandinavian can do.
No distress on that face whatever, was there?
Nothing at all.
But then his teammate Jimmy Bruni is the one who's down the road by 4.5 seconds from his battle. But he won't be over-concerned what's going on in the team second car.
And again, we're coming up to this classic opportunity for Tim Mullen again. I don't think that he is close enough.
Coming up to put a lap on the track speed Porsche now in the hands of David Ashburn. That car too having made an early stop, so Richard Williams could hand over.
And can they... Well, no, it looks as though Montanari's got through. Mullen looking for the other side, and it works for him because he goes through as well, but it doesn't get him past the 51 car. So a little bit of creativity from Tim Mullen, but he got nothing for his planes.
But full marks to David Ashburn for being savvy enough to realise there was a Ferrari coming either side of him and not turning in instinctively in front of Tim Mullen while the AF Corsa car came around the other side.
Just hold that wheel and just shut your eyes and keep going is the only thing you can do. So still this goes on. We were, what, 20 minutes into this now. We've done 14 laps. And these two still the closest thing in GT2 at the moment is that 0-point gap between Mullen and Montanari, and then
behind them is even
0 point, and then 0 point.
Exactly, it's Rob Bell making up time on Richard Westbrook in the Porsche. That's the leading trio, however, all Ferraris. Then it's the Porsche number 61, followed by Rob Bell in the 56 CR Scuderia car. That was the one that got nerfed by Golin, so it's still Lopez, Fassler, Golin in 5th, 6th and 7th places, and all of them trying to keep on terms with Michael Bartel's, but he's now got a second and a bit between himself and the pursuing Ferrari.
Well, I think now that we've cleared that little bit of traffic, I think we might see those gaps close up again. You need an empty track in order to work your way forward to the car in front. We've seen that happen, and then they caught up with the slower GT2 cars, and that slowed them all up and opened the gaps up.
Clouting the curbs hard to keep ahead of the Corvette there.
So Muller leads it, Bouchou second, Wendlinger is in third place, Michael Bartel still mired in fourth, and this Ferrari in 5th place. That's the order here at Oschersleben. Michael Bartels has got his hands full of the number 1 Maserati and a windscreen full of the number 7 Saleen. He's trying to lap it, he's trying to stay with the race leaders who've already gone through here, but he's got this behind him, and that's the 37 Ferrari of Jose Maria Lopez, who is doing much better than we expected.
Absolutely, Bartels getting badly held up in traffic over the last couple of laps and allowing the whole train behind him, Lopez, Fessler, Colin, to close up right together. Colin, in fact, has now got separated by more traffic, so he's a little way back, but that's the gap now, which is all about 4th position.
Muller leads this after 21 laps and just over half an hour. Wendlinger is second by 2 seconds because Christophe Bouchou is in 3rd place and is 15 seconds down. Now, something's happened to Christophe Bouchou.
Bouchou's had
that
a
we didn't
spin out of sight.
Something bad's happened to him. It may just be a little rotation, and he has dropped down to 2nd place. He's still in 3rd. Michael Bartels is 1 and a bit seconds behind him, but as we saw, Michael Bartels got other things to think about. So a lot going on in this race.
Yes, less than a second covering that gaggle of 4 cars, as we've still got the interloper in the middle there, the number 7 Vincent Voss car, which has already done its pit stop, of course.
Bruni Montanari Mullen is the GT2 top 3.
Still just a quarter of a second between Tim Mullen and Christian Montanari, giving Christian no peace at all in his pursuit, but not able either to get past Bartels. Now he's clear of that traffic, able to open up the gap again to a second and a half from the pursuing Ferrari, who in turn has got half a second over Marcel Fessler and just 3/10 from Fessler back to Colin.
And Colin's got stuck behind the Celine this time around as they go past the hotel. He'll try and pass him on the run here down towards the chicane in a moment, but you can see for yourself there how much time and distance he's lost just being stuck in traffic.
The Celine has got bucket loads of power. That's the problem that Colin has got. And although...
I'll tell you what, you say it's paying off for Sandy Negrão. He's currently in 7th place, and he is looking at 1 to 6, positioned 1 to 6, all owing a pit stop. He's stopped, they haven't, and that puts him in a very favourable position.
Yes, he does. They're a best part of a lap down, but a lap doesn't take very long round here, and a pit stop will. Because it's a driver change. Big lock up there from Jose Emilio Lopez, just getting overexcited into the corner, then missing his braking point, locking up in a flat spot in the tyre, doing that. Gollins right along the inside of him. Can he make it past this time? No, the Argentinian will not give way.
Well, you said he was used to soaking it up. He really took it right out to the limit there and dangled over the edge of the cliff.
Still to make steady progress at the head of the field.
Oh, no.
And off, finally off. He's overcooked it. Has gone Jose Maria Lopez. Oh dear, buried it in the tyre wall. A little bounce back.
The number 33 Aston Martin of Carl Wendlinger, Ryan Sharp, started this race from pole position, and after being bustled aside in turn 1 on lap 1, he's back out in front after just less than an hour of racing. Ryan Sharp now at the wheel leads Sandy Negrão, and who would have thought that that would have worked out as well for them?
Well, clearly the team did when they did all their calculations, so top marks again to Vitaphone. They really do their thinking in the pit lane as much as they do in the car. The Aston Martin just going out of shot is Alan Lucas Lichtner-Hoyer, who's now coming under increasing pressure from the two Corvettes, split for the moment by the 37 Ferrari. We've seen them battling in the past, but now the Ferrari, after that little incident involving Jose Maria Lopez nudging into the tyres, and the subsequent pit stop has dropped Martin Basso a lap behind. He will now be just fighting for survival, locking up himself, trying to stay out of the way of the second of the two Corvettes. That's Jean-Denis Delatraz now. Mike Hasemans, having made the pass on his teammate in pursuit of Lucas Lichtner-Hoyer, just 1.5 seconds the gap between those two. So the Corvettes now shaping up to go for podium finishes.
Sharp Negrão, Lichtner-Hoyer 1, 2 and 3, and still Martin Basso locking up the brakes on that as the Maserati goes.
And that is a genuine battle, because it's Alain Ferte who's taken over the JMB Maserati, the dark blue one from Ben Alcott, who started the race, and he's made that a pass, so up into...
Like that for much longer, as Graham said, and that's the reason why the number 6 Corvette of Mike Haseman is now chewing away at the back bumper of the Aston Martin, and any moment now is just going to whip past Lucas Lichtner-Hoyer, and that was a very, very cheeky move by Mike Haseman. Lichtner-Hoyer not having any of it, saying, no, you can't do it that easily.
Absolutely, and we can see the telltale signs of traffic ahead again, and will it be the wily Hasemans who can make best use of it, or will he need to, as he actually made the pass stick into turn 1? He's going to be pushing the Aston very wide in his attempt, and indeed pushed him right off the track. Now I wonder if that will bring about a little thought from the stewards, because it looked as though he dived very, very deep into turn 1 and then leaned on the Aston Martin, giving him nowhere to go but off the side of the track, with the net result being that Jean-Denis Delatraz has been able to follow through, and the Corvettes now run in 3rd and 4th.
Well, if Mike Haseman didn't get an unfair advantage out of that, it's certainly true that Jean-Denis Delatraz was a major beneficiary.
Yes, he'll have a huge smile going on under his crash helmet, won't he? Here's a replay of it. Mike Haseman's just ducking out at the last minute, but from a long way back, and perhaps an optimistic lunge
Well, no, I don't think so. No,
I think
the higher panic is what he's going to do, and probably any second now as well. As we come to the end of the front straight, he looks down the inside. Is he going to launch an attack? He's thought about it and thought better of it. Goes to the other side and tries to carry some speed into this corner. Now, if he can carry it all the way through, he might just get a chance to stuff him up the inside, but I don't think that's going to happen either. They're so evenly matched, aren't they?
As much as anything, showing the car both sides of the Malucelli Porsche, the Ferrari, aiming to unsettle his look into the corner, just getting him to let go of the Ferrari into the corner and not make his way through, but he can't do it. Malucelli is not going to be fazed by this. However, joining into the fun has come Anthony Kumpen in the Celine, recovering from an early spin while in the hands of Bert Longin that dropped them way down the order, back up now into 8th place, which is not a bad result for them. They've got themselves past the equivalent Labre competition version in the hands of Vincent Voss, but the Celine not really the weapon of choice in GT1 this season. We're back on board with Thomas Biaggi, still trying to find a way past Matteo Malucelli. There's a tenth of a second in it, nothing more.
He might find that he was going to have a go, wasn't he? He was going to try and go with Anthony Kumpen if he could, past Malucelli, but it didn't work out like that because Kumpen did it on a nice long straight bit and Malucelli had plenty of warning. But again, he's on the inside and he's done it that time. Coming into the S's there, that was just as easy as you like, wasn't it?
Yes, I think Malucelli finally realised that ultimately the fight was lost as he didn't even defend the place.
Well, Matteo Malucelli may well have done the gentlemanly thing there. And I'd have to say, being perfectly honest, that you don't see that very often in GT2, do you?
No, you don't often see it anywhere. We'll get safely through turn 1 without tears. Bertolini not able to launch there. The 78 car, that's Davide Rigon, the Italian out of Venice, parking his car. Please don't stop there. Oof, that's not a safe place to be on the
5th place on the overall leaderboard. You're in the cockpit of the number 51 GT2 Ferrari, Thomas Biaggi, and he is looking at the back end of Emmanuel Collard now, who has got past him. And at the moment, although you can't see it with those captions on screen, I believe that Emmanuel Collard is trying to overtake Xavi Masson in the GT1 Corvette.
It's looking a bit that way. Masson actually making his way back up through the field into contention for a podium spot themselves. The 37 car is one that hasn't done as well in the hands of Martin Basso in his first go. We've got the Aston Martin making his way through. In the meantime, they can stop. Miguel Ramos has. So we've still got Bertolini and Lickner Hoyer to make their stops. The battle still raging down in GT2 between Andrew Kikordi and Manuel Collard. Kikordi just still holding the advantage. That headlight has gone out on Collard's car, as predicted by 1G Tyler of this parish. And Tony Wielander still holds up the front of the course, although they've had their second pit stop and everything will shuffle when the timing beams are broken again by this battle.
We did say earlier on that Manuel Collard has a certain cavalier attitude towards curbing, and then during the commercial break he actually went and proved that to the power of about 50 by throwing that Porsche off the curbs. It was 3 feet in the air at some places. The result has been some spectacular driving control from Emmanuel Collard that's amused us enormously, but hasn't really got him any.
His last lap time was a 2:28. That would kind of involve a spin of some sort as we see action back out on the track. We're looking at the BK Motorsport Celine, and the car ahead of it is the Labre Competition version.
Yes, and there was a glimpse of our one Mosler there with all its bits and pieces in place, I think.
Yes, the 103 cars.
And 3 safety cars out. Watch Andrea Bertolini come into the pits now and get a free pit stop. It's the only car in the top 10 that owes us a pit stop, and it's going to happen now. There's dust drifting across the infield there, and I don't know if that's an additional problem or it's still the debris. On to the start-finish straight in an orderly fashion. So Richard Westbrook is the man at the front of the field, but it is Carl Wendlinger in the middle there. You just got a glimpse of the blue top of the Aston Martin. There it is on the extreme left of your picture. He's the race leader, and he is anxious to clear this and get out of the way and try and make an escape from Mike Hazelman, who was 1.2 seconds behind him going over the start-finish line as the track goes green all the way round. Here's the man who may or may not have benefited from a free pit stop.
Well, he's ended up ahead of his teammate Miguel Ramos, who's down in 7th place. That means Bertolini's in 6th. he's now got to try and charge his way past a pair of Aston Martins and 3 Corvettes in the remaining 19 minutes of this race.
Wendlinger, Hazeman, Muller, Fassler, Bouchou, Bertolini, that's our order 1 to 6. It's Bruni, Montanari and Bell 1 to 3 in GT2.
And that's Mike Hazeman's and Alex Muller behind in the Jet Alliance Aston Martin. 2 GT2 cars separating them currently. Mike Hazeman's is the windscreen through who we're looking at the moment, and he's got his eyes full of a GT2 Pirelli sponsored number 77, Paolo Roberti. He'll want to be through and past him and in pursuit of the car that he really needs to be paying attention to, which is Carl Wendlinger's Aston, still heading the field after 65 laps.
There it is, nice and easy going into the S's. The speed of the GT1 carrying the Corvette past the little Ferrari, and that's such a shame for Scuderia. Of course, that's Jamie Davis, and that's beached for good, isn't it? That looks into turn 1. Past the pit lane entrance, he really wants to be close round here and keep it up underneath the rear wing. He is in position. Fessler runs wide again. He's struggling to keep that car online. He's allowed one move to block, and that's it. But there it is. Michael Bartel's had a look, and he's close.
No, just hasn't quite got the speed down the start-finish straight. Looks as though the Corvette has still got the legs on the Vitaphone Maserati on the straight. Oh, just tucking up under the inside there. Not again able to quite make it stick. The power in that Corvette engine, hustling it out of the corner a little bit quicker than the Maserati could go. Always harder to be the car following, because you've got to watch out for the car ahead to accelerate before you can, otherwise you plough into the back of it. Equally intense behind is a battle between Miguel Ramos and Christophe Bouchou, though that will be resolved by Bouchou having to go into the pit lane if he answers the call for the drive-through.
You get 3 laps before you're penalised further for not responding to a drive-through penalty, and this must be the 3rd lap, I think, because that's been on the screen for quite a while. So Bouchou has either got to do that, or he might elect to take a penalty into the next. Oh, he spun it, Michael Bartels.
Now that was odd, because there was an issue of something looked like smoke. I don't know whether it was just running wide and kicking up dust from the inside of the corner, but he looped that on his own. It looked as though he just tried a little bit too hard through that corner and couldn't hold the car together. So that'll give a lot of breathing space now to Marcel Fessler up in 3rd place, and should resolve the battle once and for all.
Well, I think with 6 minutes left on the clock, let's have a look and see what happened. I think he might have just got a bit too close, and no, it's not even that. He's on dirt, isn't he, and he's on the gas at the same time, and just trying to stay with the Corvette.
Didn't look as though he had wheels fully off the circuit, which is what mystified me slightly. May just have been riding the curb on the inside and far enough up that other dirt already kicked up, as Bouchou has made his stop. Other dirt kicked up by other cars was that bit closer to the edge of the line, and that's what unfortunately caught out Michael Bartels, who will not be a happy bunny at the end of this race. He was looking good for a podium finish. He would have wanted the win. Now he's going to get neither, because Carl Wendlinger and Alex Muller in the pair of Jet Alliance Aston Martins, who head the field handsomely. Some 15 seconds back from them is Marcel Fessler in the number 5 Phoenix Racing Corvette.
Well, I'm not sure that all is well with this number 1 Maserati, because it just went a little bit loose at the back end there a couple of times, and it just seems to have a bit of vibration in the back end as well.
Now, is this because they didn't change their tyres last pit stop?
Yes, well, of course, they made the brave choice, didn't they? So now it seems they're paying a certain price for it. Five minutes to go, exactly, on the countdown timer. Is Michael Bartels in lots of tyre trouble? We're not completely certain, are we? We think so, and we definitely know that he's dropped a place as a result of a spin. But the man we really wanted to talk to for all his curb hopping activities was Emmanuel Collard. Haley's running to earth in pit lane. Let's find out what he thinks of the Adriac Butcher's dog, because he's not even out of breath, and I would be.
Absolutely not. Not only has he been driving like a complete hero this afternoon, he's also probably qualified several minutes onto his PPL requirements. There's no flying Porsche really making a mark around the circuit. Stunning drive as ever from Manu Collard, but it was that pace car, and as I mentioned on the way through, the fact that they don't do this wave-by procedure in Europe that has cost them that lap and denied them any chance of getting onto the podium, which will again be a Ferrari clean sweep, providing nothing happens to one of the top 3s, which is the 2 AF Corsa cars in number order 50 and 51, and Rob Bell still battling on in the 56 CR Scuderia car, number 56 in 3rd.
61, Richard Westbrook is behind in 4th place, and as Emmanuel Collard said, a wave guide would have changed that, but it's not what happens here. So, and it hasn't happened for anybody. So, it's a regret for Collard and Westbrook, but that's the way the rules are here. Wendlinger, after 76 laps, has got Alex Muller a second and a half behind him. Marcel Fassler in 3rd place in the Corvette, and don't forget that's carrying some extra kilos of ballast. He's looking very good. Miguel Ramos is in front of his teammate. Michael Bartel's got away with that spin very lightly indeed. Mike Hazeman has also had problems. Remember, he went off and is 5 seconds behind Bartel's in 6th place. Back out after his drive-through penalty, that was Christophe Bouchou in the number 3 Corvette, and he is in 7th place. Fabrizio Del Monte is the leading Ferrari there of these two.
Roberti, we saw having a spin earlier, trying to recover position. He's less than 3/4 of a second behind last time through the timing beam, and he'll be using, if he can, the last couple of minutes to try and drag his way past that Ferrari again as we go back to the head of the field. And this is exactly the story the Jet Alliance wanted to see coming into this round. They had a double failure last time out at Avria in our evening race, and here it looks like being a double top.
Doesn't that illustrate a depth in the team that they can recover from a double failure last time out? Both cars parked by the side of the track within minutes of each other, come back here, qualify on pole, and turn it into a formation finish. As you say, there's 1.5 minutes remaining, and I think I'm going to get 2 more laps, aren't they? This one and one other.
They'll get this one and one more, and I just wonder if that one and one more is going to be enough to see Miguel Ramos start to make a serious challenge on the back of Marcel Fassler's Corvette for 3rd place, the final podium spot. There's only 2 seconds between them, and last lap round Ramos was a clear second quicker than Fassler in the Corvette ahead of him. It's going to be last lap as they cross the timing beams this time round.
Lucas Lichtenheuer in the prayer attitude there in the corner of the Jet Alliance garage, not actually able to look at the TV screen anymore because he's just got a minute to live through, and then the checkered flag will be unfurled from its becket and waved at Carl Wendlinger. He is starting his final lap now. Look at it, there are 45 seconds on the clock as he goes over the line, begins the final lap, and they're closing right up for the photographers and the TV cameras all around the course, because this is absolutely what you want for your brochure for next year, isn't it?
Absolutely, and Jet Alliance put out a very nice newsletter as each round, and you can bet they are just dying to get that 1-2 shot across the line for the front page of it next time we meet again at Spa.
And of course, when they go to Spa, they will only take one car, as they always do. Halves the chances, but it keeps your driver lining up together. And it didn't pay off for them last year, but they're going to go there on a high this year.
Absolutely, but this race is not yet run, Richard, because behind them, all right, 25 seconds behind, Marcel Fassler now has only 7/10 of a second between himself and a charging Miguel Ramos in the number 2 Maserati, the one that, remember, took that very early pit stop to change its strategy after being penalised 5 spots on the grid. They started in 12th, they've made their way up to 4th, and if Miguel Ramos has anything to say about it, that'll be a 3rd and a podium finish, which would be a terrific result for them.
That would be a turnaround. We said that Vitaphone are capable of performing that little conjuring trick. It hasn't worked for Michael Bartels. We saw the car loop. We think it's because he stayed out on the same tyres, and I think I'm going to put my money on Miguel Ramos finishing in 4th place.
Okay, I think you may just be right, but as they run past pit lane for the final time, it's going to be the Jet Alliance Aston Martins that clear this one out of the way and take the top 2 slots on the podium. Congratulations then to Carl Wendlinger and Ryan Sharp, to Alex Muller and Lucas Lichtenheuer, who comes finally
the most of its handling capability to pull triumph from what was an awful weekend last time out. And there is the confirmation, Delatraz in 3rd place, claiming that last podium finish. 4th place was a good result for the number 2 car after the penalty in the early pit stop. And Michael Bartels, I think we'll be very disappointed with 5th place. He'd worked a lot harder than that, hadn't he? And it was just snatched away with him. They made a brave call on tyres, and I just think it didn't pay off.
No, and more disappointment for Mike Hazelmans as well, following having a little spin of his own towards the end, and for Christophe Bouchou for that late penalty. In GT2, it's business as usual. They, of course, are heading up first and second. Great result finally for CR Scuderia. This team have worked their socks off this season, and with scant results, but it's a good result now for Rob Bell and Andrew Kirkordy. And as we fade back